Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome to day 16 of Nickelodeon month. This is weird because I'm actually recording this before I do day 15, which was Rugrats Go Wild. If you've already seen that one, because I wanted something I can watch this morning before I went to work, but also finish in the van, you know, during work or whatever. So in between job sites. So I decided to jump one review ahead. Not that it matters because you're seeing it on the day it's supposed to come out. But Channel Chasers, Fairly Odd Parents special. Wasn't the first special, it was like the second special. I think Abbott Catastrophe was the first. But, uh, yeah, Channel Chasers. And this is a retro rewind, which I was hesitant on calling it that because to me, I was like, no, it's not that far back. And then I realized this was 2003, which is now almost 20 years ago. And I went, no, 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 but yes. Yeah. So I guess it counts. But I gotta have a cutoff line. So anything after 2005, I will not say it's retro for now. So yes, retro rewind, and now going up to the early 2000s, and I'm not happy about it, but here we are. So before I get into the plot of Channel Chasers, I think I need to tell some people who are uneducated about the Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents was a show that came out in 2001, and it 2001, 2000. Was it 99? Was it 2000? 2001, one of the two. It was actually had its origins in another show called Oh Yeah Cartoons. You see, much like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon wanted to capitalize on independent cartoonists and try to, uh, bring in new cartoons using Oh Yeah Cartoons as a format to start that, like Cartoon Network did with, Cow and Chicken, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Somebody's at the door, who's gonna get the door? Courage the Cowardly Dog, Courage the Cowardly Dog. That popped in my head when I said it like that. Courage the Cowardly Dog, yeah, those kind of things. No, you know what I mean? So trying to do something like that, they had Oh Yeah Cartoons, but to my knowledge, off the top of my head, only two shows came from that I can think of: The Odd Parents and Chalk Zone. I don't think any other shows came from that, like the What a Cartoon Show did. So Oh Yeah Cartoons was the lesser of the two, I think. But yeah, and the main plot of the Fairly Odd Parents show is that Timmy is an average kid, which no one understands. Mom and Dad and his babysitter Vicky always giving him commands. But then in the gloom up in his room is broken instantly because he gets magic fish to grant his every wish. Because in reality, they are his odd parents, Fairly Odd Parents, wands and wings, floaty crowny things. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, so Timmy Turner is a 10-year-old who has a horrible, evil babysitter named Vicky. His parents are irresponsible and leave all the time. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's other stuff, date night, whatever. They leave him alone with Vicky, who the Chips Skylarks, Icky Vicky, that song. And so he is gifted two fairy godparents, two fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, who grant his every wish. Because in reality, they are his odd parents, Fairly Odd Parents, Wanda and wings, floaty crowny things. But yeah, and usually each cartoon, there's like a couple cartoons in each episode. It's like, I wish for this, it goes wrong, and then Jimmy has to find a way to fix it. Rinse and repeat. But it lasted 8 seasons, although they did, change things like adding a dog, and then another person for the Fairly Godparents to Well, they added a baby first, which Cosmo gave birth to, the male one, because that's how it works in fairy world. And then they added the dog, a fairy dog. The fairy dog or just a dog? I don't know. It's a dog or something. I don't know. And then they added, was it named Chloe or something? Like, he had to share his godparents with someone else. I don't know. It was really weird. That didn't, the last I recall, but there's also other spin-offs like a three live action TV films starring Drake Bell and Danielle Monet as Timmy and Tootie, who is Vicky's little sister, who we will see in this special. And then that fairly utter bullshit that they just came out with. It looks horrible because the actor that they hired to play Timmy looks like a pedophile. I'm serious. You look at this guy, it's creepy. Like, I know it's already creepy that Timmy is in his 30s and still has his godparents, but I don't know. They explained it in the Drake Bell ones as he grew up but never lost his childhood innocence, so he was able to keep the godparents. I don't know. There are other characters that are important, like Jorgen von Strangle, who's sort of the law keeper. He's not in this, so he's not really that important for this. Denzel Crocker, Timmy's teacher, who's obsessed with fairy godparents, because, and spoiler alert for that episode on Denzel Crocker, we find out he had Cosmo and Wanda as fairy godparents, lost them, but didn't forget that fairies existed completely, so he's always trying to find them. And then Timmy's two best friends, Chester and AJ. Chester voiced by Jason Marsden, which is important because Jason Marsden does 3 roles in this. Yeah. Yeah, so Channel Chasers, it's sort of a cameo fest in a way. There's several parodies of several different cartoon shows, most of which are owned by Cartoon Network at the time. There's some other ones that weren't owned by Cartoon Network that are kind of used. I won't remember all of them, just some of them, but you know. So the story of this particular one, Channel Chase, is that Timmy, he is he's obsessed with our first parody, Mahomoshi, Mahumoshi, something like that. Mahumoshi, something like that. Or Mahumoshi. We'll call it that. Mahumoshi, which is basically a parody of all anime in a way, but specifically Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, and Gundam. We see that later on. So, yeah. So he's obsessed with this show, and that causes problems, which I'll get to when I get to the thing, and he's grounded. But he doesn't listen to that and instead wishes for a magic remote control that can make him go into the TV. Since he can't watch TV, he's going to be on TV. And then if he's also being chased by a henchman from the future trying to stop him, so we think. And then Vicky gets her hands on the remote, and that causes all sorts of problems. So, we start off the episode in the future. Grown-up versions of Chester and AJ running from a masked man, who is the henchman working for an evil dictator overlord. And they have stolen this thing that's going to power this belt so they can travel back in time, but the henchman stops them. And here, Jason Marsden gets to use his adult voice for Chester here. But, yeah, and so the evil warlord dictator is revealed to be Vicky. No surprise. Babysitter, if you don't know, Vicky. And so she sends the henchman back in time to stop the last one that can stop her plans, Timmy Turner. apparently she can't find him anywhere there. We'll find out why later. And so he's sent back to stop little Timmy. And so, yes, there's our plot. So a henchman puts the belt on, goes back in time. Bada boom. So we get to present time. Well, 2003 present time. By the way, this starts by saying 20 years from now. 20 years in the future or something like that. So this came out in 2003, which means the future timeline is now. 2023. Now. Now. Where's the evil Victator? Victator. Yeah. Evil Vicky Dictator is what I meant to say, but evil Victator, that works. Which, by the way, the evil Vicky Dictator thing never comes back except for mentioning it. Like, you think that she would show up with a time belt of her own towards the end when she realizes the truth, but no. No. Did you know? But, yeah. So, Timmy wishes he has Mahumoshi. Is the popular show now with all the anime and violence. He's got this ship. It's apparently from there. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but you know. So he's in this spaceship. You know, people are like, oh, Mahumoshi is very violent, and no one could possibly imitate it, especially this spaceship. And it cuts to Timmy's got the spaceship because he wished for it, and it causes problems, and he ends up. He puts himself in a bubble. He crashes into his dad's office, causing his dad to lose the cleanest office award to Dinkelberg, which is his dad's rival, Dinkelberg. And then he crashes into a house that his mom's trying to sell, which until now I didn't realize she was a real estate agent. But this causes problems with me because they come home and they're mad at Timmy. They say to each other, Timmy broke the house I was trying to sell. Yeah, but Timmy ruined my office. And I'm like, wait, how the hell did you know it was him? Like the dad, maybe, because he's right there and closer to him, bouncing around. But the mom, not only was she like a couple of yards away from the house, she was fixated on giving the people the keys when it happened. So there's no way either of them should know. Like, it happened so fast with the dad that he goes in the office and out again so fast that he would not be able to realize who it is. And then the whole thing with the mom is that she wasn't fully paying attention. The only reason that they know it's Timmy is so that he can get grounded. Otherwise, it makes no sense how they would know. Just so they can get grounded. Couldn't think of any other way to ground them? Doing this? But it's just common sense doesn't work that way. They wouldn't have known it was him. So, yeah, the one rule, he can't tell anyone about his fairy godparents, or he'll lose them. And then we found another thing in this one. This is the first episode that kind of deals with that. A new rule that comes in, so, yeah. So Timmy gets grounded, and is forced to be watched by Vicky. So Timmy is like, well, if I can't watch TV, I'll be on TV. So he wishes for a remote, which is pink, like Wanda. And he goes into there, and we get parodies of the Jetsons, the Flintstones, Speed Racer, Fat Albert, Hefty Hal, whatever it's called. Plays Pooper Scooper. Space Ghost, I think it was. Later we get The Simpsons. Johnny Quest, which was the last one and the first time there. Looney Tunes, among many other parodies I can't remember on top of my head. Blue's Clues. That's like one of the only Nickelodeon ones that they do is Blue's Clues. But it's Clint's Hints, and the host is a live-action Jason Marsden, which is weird because this is when he started just doing voice roles. But it's Jason Marsden, and he's acting very goofy and over the top, which I don't think any of the hosts were. Maybe Joe. I don't even know if Joe was part of the team at this time, but yeah. A Clint hint. It's a clue! A clue! And he's going over the top with his performance because, you know. So he goes in and he does the Johnny quest, and then comes out with this big bazooka thing. Then the parents catch him. They take away his remote and the bazooka thing, and he wants to fire at Dinkelberg's house, but it's not loaded anymore. There's no ammo because Timmy blew a hole in the house with it. So he's going to go get more ammo from the ammo store so he can blow Dinkelberg's house up. Okay. And they give the remote to Vicky, which is an important plot point. I should mention that the evil version of Timmy had followed him in there somehow and was following him around. Speed racer stuff. Gets after this action when he goes back and he gets another remote, a green one. He's followed by at this point, because he goes back in and the guy follows him, like the evil henchman. And eventually it's revealed that this evil henchman is actually an older version of Timmy who has come back to try to stop Vicky. So he's not an evil henchman. He has inserted himself in secret as but it's implied that Vicky knows that it's Timmy. Maybe, because like he said, I inserted myself secretly, and then Vicky shows up with a bunch of henchmen surrounding him. So does she figure it out, or is she testing him, his loyalty? Who knows? But so we get parodies of Batman and Robin, but it's a bird one. Even though there's already a parody on the show, Catman. They even have Adam West do a voice cameo later. As they're chasing Vicky through levels, and they say that there's a Dictator channel on this cable for some reason. I don't know why. And she's trying to get to that channel. So she jumps in and is jumping through channels to get to the Dictator channel. Plot hole. Okay, another thing I have a problem with. Earlier in the episode, it is demonstrated very much that Timmy could choose what channel to start on. He says, I'm going to start at channel 1. There is no channel 1, but for the purposes of this series, sure. Channel 2, at least where I am, channel 2. Channel 1. And that's the Futurellis, which is the Jetsons parody. But anyway, so why can't Vicky just put it on the Dictator channel and jump in? Because then if she did that, it would be over. She would win and there'd be nothing. No. So they gotta jump and jump and jump. And wouldn't you know it, the channel before the Dictator channel has Mahomushi on it, which he points out before they jumped in. The channel before Dictator channel has the Mahomushi. Mahomushi. So that's our final showdown. So eventually they get to the Mahomushi channel, and they're in the credits for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knockoff with cows. I don't know. I mean, they already had a cows one. The Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Which was not really a knockoff of Ninja Turtles, but they had a whole bunch of those ones back in the day that were just anamorphic, walking animals. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then there was the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Biker Mice from Mars, Street Sharks, Extreme Dinosaurs, that sort of stuff. Yeah, and I'll start with Ninja Turtles, and here we have cows. Oh, Moo Mesa. Sorry, that song popped in my head. It's a cool song. Stuck up the Wild West. Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa theme song. Yeah, it really is. But so they fight in Mahomushi, and Vicky is Piccolo, and Timmy I think is supposed to be Goku with a white gi, and his brown hair, he looks like more like Ryu from Street Fighter. And so they have a fight, and then Vicky, they get in the Gundam things and fight, and they're both destroyed. And Timmy can't stop Vicky, so he figures out, because we find out earlier that when Timmy gets older, he'll lose his godparents, which makes sense. So Timmy decides the only way to stop her is to make sure she doesn't have the magic. They're on equal playing fields. Oh, and at one point, the older Timmy gets not killed. His time belt gets destroyed, so he gets sent back to the future, which, okay. And so Timmy decides to use the remote to age him up. And so it's implied that he won't lose his fairies until he's 18. Because when he's not able to remember who they are, he looks like he's college age. He's got a flat top, Letterman jacket. So I'm thinking college age-ish. I'm thinking. And they have Tara Strong do like an older voice, which is kind of cool. Because if he was fully adult, he would sound like Alec Baldwin, but he doesn't. He still sounds sort of teenager-ish, so I'm thinking maybe 18. But they stop having the numbers on him once he hits 15 or 16, so I don't know. So he forgets, and so there's no more magic. Which is another... I do want to discuss it, but I'm not sure it's much of a plot hole anymore. But like, he says when he gets older, the magic will go away. But if this whole regime of Vicky taking over is about because she got the remote, then wouldn't her powers cease when Timmy turned 18? Or is it because she went to the Dictator channel and changed history like she said she was going to that happens? I don't know. It's iffy. So because she doesn't have magic anymore, they're back at equal playing fields, but better. And but the fairy cap comes to take the fairies away because he's too old. Which they're in a TV universe. I don't know how that works, but they're able to just pop anywhere. But they're able to zap Timmy back to being a kid again. He gets both remotes and zaps Vicky out of there, makes her forget everything, and zaps her out of there. Oh, I should also mention the subplot has Timmy's parents looking for him. This is very coincidental, because I forgot this was even a thing. Have Timmy's parents looking for him, and they're being pushed around, not pushed around, but kind of helped around by someone called Deep Toot, which is Vicky's sister Tootie, but Deep Toot kind of reminds me of Deep Voice from the Hey Arnold movie. Somebody watched that movie before they wrote this. But yeah, Deep Toot, which, yes, Deep Toot, it's funny, haha, the dad keeps laughing at it, Deep Toot. But, yes, and so they eventually get to the TV company, owned by Doug Dimmadome, of the Dimsdale Dimmadomes, and he starts counting all the stuff that Timmy's done to him over the years, and they send a message out to Timmy, we're sorry, and so they get there, and like, they're going around talking to people about, because he tries to tell her that Vicky is evil, they don't believe him, and then they go around talking to Timmy's friends, is she evil? And then I was saying Vicky has cameras on them, but they get zapped when they try to say something. And then Chester gets cheese, and then she talks to Vicky. They talk to Vicky's parents, which is where Tootie hears. So she decides to try to save Timmy. And so, yeah, they sent out a message on the Dimmadome cable. And that's where he materializes. They don't question it, he just materializes through. And so, Vicky does get fired. They confront her, they say she's fired, and then Timmy erases their memories. Erases everyone's memories, wishes that he never wished for the remotes. And so none of this ever happened, so yeah. Although if they had sent the adult Timmy back far enough to stop him from wishing for the remotes, they could have solved this. I'll go, Timmy is very, you know, stubborn, so I don't know if that would work. But, you know. And then we cut to the future, like 20 years from now, I think, where Timmy has his own kids, and they dig up a time capsule that Timmy buried with pictures so he wouldn't forget. But the fish, who are actually for the godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, look like regular fish to Timmy. And he said before, I'm never going to be like my parents. And now it's like, okay, I got to go. Here's your babysitter. It's a Vicky robot. And then they live. But that he leaves, excuse me. And then we see that Cosmo and Wanda are with the kids. And they're like father, like son. And it ends. So I was like, was this supposed to be the finale? This is like middle of the season. There's like a few more episodes, not middle, but there was towards the end of the season, but it wasn't the season finale. There was more episodes after it, so I don't know. But it was fun to go back and see this. No rating, because it is a retro rewind. But yeah, this was fun to go back and watch. I had fun. So, what are your thoughts on Channel Chaser? Leave them in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.